Okay, that is Kyle,
That is Cody.
and we are the Brothers Blue, and today we're going to be talking about the American secession, or the dissolution of the United States, however you want to call it. The one thing I wanted to preface this conversation with, brother, is that we are right now in the midst of a real time attempted coup happening in America. Um, which I didn't expect to see in my lifetime. So I'm a little fired up about things, but I'll try to keep it on topic.
Yeah, and this is where definitions always come into play. And it's like only time will tell whether or not the events of January 6th, 2020 actually represent an attempted coup in America.
I don't disagree with you, but what I'll say is I'll take it one step further is I have very little doubt in my mind that historians will call this an attempted coup.
I
And
I would give you a lot of confidence in making that statement.
and part of the reason that I also think historians are going to say Donald Trump was one of the worst presidents ever is beyond everything else he's done in the past 5 or 4 years. This culmination is disgusting and shocking.
Yeah, and it's also just disturbing, and I hate how people throw around the word, but it is slightly fascistic when he is asked multiple times on record whether or not he will allow a peaceful transition of power.
Right.
And in any of those instances, he does not give a clear answer. So, yeah, that anybody should have found that disturbing when it happened,
Right.
kind of like I did.
Right. Exactly. That was your turning point. Um,
One of them.
so let's. What I think would be a cool thing to start, and I'm going to share my
Hold on.
screen. That way I can just flip from
Hold on.
tab to tab. What?
I was going to say or suggest that you let me start because I only have two pieces.
Great idea. I just wanted to start on not this one, not that one. I think this one. Nope. I'm going to close this. Sorry, viewers. All four of you.
Yeah.
That's town hall. Okay. All right. You go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can go ahead.
So I will start. Well, actually, wait till I have it brought up to start sharing. So, oh wait, I can't. Oh wow. Okay. Give me a
Yeah.
sec. I got this.
Right.
Da, da, da. So the first thing I'm going to pull up is a 4-page article that basically discusses the concept of secession as it relates to nation states.
Okay.
And since we are a nation of states, I think it'll provide a good basis for
Uh-huh.
where to start. Hopefully, yeah, okay. So let me show you this. So this is an article from
You're not sharing anything.
yeah, I know. Hold on. This is an article from the Review of Politics. Can you see it now?
Yep.
And yeah, nationalism and secession in the modern state. So this really is just a sort of conceptual basis for what I think we're going to talk about. Um, and the yeah, the paragraph I specifically wanted to share with you is here at the end. And yeah, I'll just read the whole thing. The requirements for a valid secessionist brief include demonstration that serious state-inflicted injustices against the seceding group exist, that seceders do not intend the creation of an illiberal state, that the state currently holding sovereignty lacks legitimate title to the seceding territory, and if cultural grounds are invoked, that severe threat to the subjugated culture exists. So I think all of that right there is kind of like the primary reason why America has we have grounds for secession or division, I guess. Separatist movements have right here a moral right.
I was like, you didn't get to the best part, but they do convey the essence of his reasoning. In some limited cases, there is a moral right to succession. Are you saying that that exists right now in our current state or our current state of things?
Exactly.
I wouldn't argue against that. But the main thing is, so no, dude, why'd you do
Oh,
that?
I'm sorry.
No, I can just bring it up,
Well, yeah, exactly. I shared it with you. Hold on.
but it's
Bring
better
it
for the
back up.
viewer.
That's fine. Just give me a second.
Okay.
There we go.
So, the requirements for a valid succession is brief. So what of these things do you think are currently happening? So to demonstrate that serious state inflicted injustices against
Yes.
the group exists, that one?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, I mean, almost all of the terms or the conditions laid out for valid
Yeah.
secession is brief. But
So
yeah, I guess we could talk about state inflicted injustices. I mean, we could look at particular state education systems, because we're teachers, and the fact that you know, like the schools in Nevada are like just so much worse than the schools in Oregon, which is like one state away.
right,
Um, and like budgets and all that, like that too. Like
right.
those are injustices that are being inflicted by state governments trying to adhere to federal requirements. And I think more state autonomy uh, will um, will assist in the successful separatist movement.
Right. Um, so what I would, and I hate to sound like a partisan liberal hack, but it says that the succeeders do not intend the creation of an illiberal state.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about this eventually, but my argument would be that that the United States could probably point to Texas secession as an attempt to create an illiberal state. Not sure, not positive, because we would have to define illiberal state and stuff like that. But I wouldn't see the Republic of Texas being a bastion of liberalism.
While I agree with you entirely, I also don't think it's dichotomous like that. I don't think that means that it would be an illiberal state.
Sure, right, and that's the thing is illiberal is a very very specific term, and it has very very heavy concept and meaning, in my opinion.
Yes, exactly. It's not like communism or capitalism.
Right. Right. So, and actually, I did listen to the podcast, but if you want to bring up the NPR thing, I also looked at the transcript to
Yes.
know where it was that I wanted to point stuff out. But I'll let you go ahead.
No, go ahead because that is what I was gonna do, and I don't have it pulled up. So, should I stop my share? Because this is a different article entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, you can stop.
There we go. Okay. So yeah. If you have that transcript pulled up,
I do.
yeah, that'd be great. You can share that.
Do you want to talk about some stuff, or you just want me to get into it?
Yeah, just go ahead and get into it.
Okay, so well, and mostly, so like it has good stuff. And oh, this is what I was gonna say. The first half of this conversation is very similar to the source that you previously shared, in that it's mostly history and historical based. But then,
Well, are you saying like that article that we just looked at only gets into the conceptual stuff later?
dude, the most modern secession movement that they talk about is 1991.
which is what, Yugoslavia?
Right.
Yeah. Dude, this is actually something that I wanted to, and they, since they bring it up in that article, do you know anything about the country of Eritrea?
No, let's talk about it later, though. I mean,
No, I only have one thing to say about it, really. So let me just say it. You have a little bit of background knowledge about apartheid South Africa and like what was going on there. Like, yeah. So within South Africa, there's a sovereign country, and I believe it's a kingdom. I believe it's the Kingdom of Eritrea, but it's just called Eritrea,
yep.
and it is completely landlocked by South Africa on all borders.
So dumb.
This is the only country I know of in the world that exists this way, where it is literally a country within a country.
Right. It makes zero sense. Oh,
Well, I bet it does make sense.
Eritrea's, is it like 90% white or 90% black?
I said it's a kingdom, so I think, and if it's a kingdom in Africa, it's probably black.
Okay. Okay.
I'll look more into. Yeah, that's why I don't really want to talk. We don't need to flesh it out because I don't know that much. But
Yeah.
that's insane, right? Like you can
No,
look
and
at
that
it.
might actually, I think apartheid is more recent than Yugoslavia, and apartheid is mentioned in that article, so I was wrong.
Well, yeah.
It's easy when you can accept that you're wrong. It's easier to have conversations with people. What is succession's view? I just like this line right here. I don't think it's any guarantee that it's going to survive to this point. I suppose the Confederacy was humiliated. That's just funny.
Yeah. I really want to read this book, right?
Oh yeah, his book sounds like it's probably a good one. So basically, I wanted to get down to his kind of final thought. Is the main thing is, I'll just say it. Well, I think the obvious one would be California, our largest state. They have the same two senators that Wyoming has, even though they have 68 times the population. I don't see why that is a tolerable or long-lasting arrangement. I could not agree with that statement more wholeheartedly.
Okay, so this is exactly what what I'm just going to call it the long article, but that this is exactly the basically main point conclusion of that article is that like we have the governmental structures to make the changes that an actual division would attempt to create.
Right. So, like this right here, the actual means to do it: abolish the Senate or redistribute power proportionally to the population, and we're going to succeed. This is the other thing about this right here. How do freedom loving Americans not look at this and understand that it is taxation without representation? Like, it's as simple as that. If you have one person representing you in the Senate, and you're a group of 10 people, we'll just say, for example, imagine if the states had 20, 30 people, but then you're a group of 400 people and you still have that same person representing you in the Senate, where laws are on taxes and all the other things that we care about. It's funny because the original secession, the American Revolution, was based on taxation without representation. Am I right?
When you bring up taxation without taxation, did you hear that? Wow. When you bring up taxation without representation, I think of the truly unrepresented territories of what is Imperial America.
Puerto Rico, Guam,
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. But anyways, yeah, we got to what I wanted to say. Yeah, so it might be the case in Florida or in California in the future, in a country more divided today, wrecked by climate change, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, California could do it. But
so Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but like it really all like, dude, the geographical aspect of it is really the most difficult part because all of these
We're
articles.
gonna get to that. Yeah. No, so I'm sorry. I just that's a point that I want to make later.
Okay,
The
sorry.
geography, the
No, that's
geography
fine.
is
We
the main
Yes, it will
thing.
come
So,
up later. That's fine. Uh,
um, I thought you'd like, or I know you like this as well, where he's like, people are throwing around pretty weighty terminology these days,
yes.
fascism and authoritarianism. But unfortunately, we're seeing them, and that's why, like, I agree that most people use those terms as hyperbolic speech, but that's not what is occurring right now. We are
No.
seeing totalitarian, fascistic authoritarianism.
Yes, you're
So,
exactly right. And
um,
this that was the turning point for me.
So the other thing that I'll say, and I don't mean to assume this guy's political ideological leanings, but I would fair to venture it's more to the left side of the spectrum than the right side.
Yeah.
And right here is what I don't think people understand about the left. Or no, it's a false, I guess, dichotomy. Maybe I'm using that word wrong. It's a false narrative that the right tries to say that America or that leftists hate America. This guy, I hope not to see that. I love this country. I love America too. I think if you love something, you should be able to criticize it
And want it to be better.
and want
Like
it to be better.
every person that I love, I want them to be better.
Right.
And I'm going to do everything in my relationship with that person to make them better in my own skewed moral perspective.
Exactly. And that's where you get into conversations with Mr. Peterson. Is like, well, what does it mean to be a better person? And it's like, come on, man, what are we talking about? You want
Yeah.
me to define good Samaritan?
Yeah. No,
Right.
that's
So I'm gonna close some stuff and move
yeah.
on.
We can get on to your articles because
Well,
you
what I wanted to say to start out is I had a harder time, and so something we've said is back in 26 or no, back in 2008 or whatever, Texas was like, screw Obama, we're gonna succeed. I think it was in your podcast that you shared with me. The governor of Texas literally talked about their right to succeed, and the guy was like, well, they don't have the right, but anyways.
yes, exactly. It's
So
illegal like that. It's against our laws for a state to secede. I mean, I think you can there's a pathway to apply for independence, but maybe there's
right,
not actually.
no, it's crazy.
Well,
Shoot,
no, that sounds like something that should maybe exist.
no, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it does. But anyways, what I was saying is that in our current climate, with the inevitability of a Joe Biden presidency, it is much easier right now to find commentary or articles or opinion pieces from the right side of the media advocating for succession, because screw Joe Biden or whatever. Um, so, with that being said, I have a couple of articles here that are from the right side of the media, which I consume more of. But I
Dude,
wanted to find the other side. I wanted to find people from, and I love this because I've got a person from LA and I've got a person from Philly. For
so
my
what's really like historically anecdotal, and you're gonna hate and love this, is that the LA Times guy. Uh, oh no, sorry, it wasn't the LA Times guy. It was Dennis Prager who's and we'll look at his article later, but he says something about California being run by unions, and yeah,
just don't, yeah.
the like weird like anecdote that I wanted to bring up is The LA Times was was like vehemently anti-union at
Right.
the turn of the 20th century.
Right.
So like the early 1900s, they were very very anti-union because they didn't want unions taking over their printing presses
Right.
things like that. So the LA Times building was bombed by unionists basically, like, and it's this big giant political conspiracy that like legitimately happened,
Right.
and the LA Times building was bombed by unionists
Right.
for being anti-union. And now Dennis Prager is saying that California is run by unions, and it's like that's just so
The irony is thick.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So are we on to the Los Angeles Times article? You can see this, right?
This is great. I'm gonna pause our recording real quick,
Okay.
if I can figure it out.
So in this one, I like this guy. He's got kind of a jovial kind of attitude towards the whole topic.
It was a nice change of pace because of all of the far right wing sources that you shared with me.
Right. But I'm just a leftist stuck in my echo chamber. Don't don't think anything otherwise.
And I live in a bubble.
So this is the first one that I wanted to highlight is right here is so roughly 30 years ago, the USSR came to grips with its irreconcilable regional differences and broke apart, splitting into 15 independent republics. So would now be a good time. Should we share the map? Should we show my map?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Related.
now's as good a time as any.
Right, because this talks about regional divides, which is kind of accurate to America. But you know what? We'll just get this part out of the way because I wanted to talk about fucking. Oh, I just said the F word. I wanted to talk about.
So what we're looking at is three, and actually, since you said, wait, do the two Democratic portions they're part of the same federal government?
Right, which would
No,
that's the
no.
first biggest obstacle. But go ahead.
I actually like the idea of just splitting into two different federal governments. That I don't think is a proposal that is mentioned in any of the articles that we read.
I don't think so either.
The,
So, anyways,
the really long good one does talk about how to use the federal government to fix our problems, which is great, and we'll talk about that later.
yep.
But this is why it's different from the Soviet Union too. Like 15 different sovereign nations out of one giant union, and like what? It's funny that we act like we're not we're just the capitalist union.
No, it's just funny because like my argument for regional I guess breakup doesn't work very well because there's this giant section that would be just one region. And I guess this is big too. But dude, the Midwest and the South, like it's
Hey, move your mouse slower. You're going way fast.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, shoot. All right. That's going to be funny.
No, way to overcompensate.
Oh, okay. All right. So, anyways, yes, the first idea is that we would split into two nations, and your two nations would be Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado, making up the Western Democratic States of America.
Yeah.
The Eastern Democratic States of America would consist of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Boom, did all of them.
Delaware. You missed Delaware.
I missed Delaware. Who wants to go to Delaware?
No, dude, isn't that not like perfect that you missed Delaware?
Yeah. Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Oh God, that's so good.
All right. And then the massive conservative states of America would be all the way from Utah and Idaho and Montana over here in this area.
Yeah.
In Wyoming and whatnot. And then you hit again, who the hell wants to go to the Dakotas? Iowa? No thanks. Kansas? Worst state I've ever driven through, and I've driven through a lot of states. Missouri, the one thing that was cool is St. Louis is a pretty cool city. The arches were a pretty cool thing to see.
John's from Missouri too. So.
This is Iowa. This is Nebraska. Either way, no one wants to go there. Arkansas, Oklahoma, the South, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. Because Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia.
Yes. Yeah.
So your northeasternmost states would be Ohio, Indiana, and West Virginia. You would have Florida and Texas, and they would have all the way over to the borders of the western states, except Nevada and Arizona. Well, no, that's not true. It's all the anyways.
Yeah, let's get back to the article because you pretty much just laid it all out. It's like
right, but the last thing I wanted to say on the map is the reason this will never work, in my opinion, and we'll get there. It kind of sucks because I'm coming to my conclusion already before we're going to go through all these articles. But my conclusion is that this will not work no matter which way you cut it, because if you come here into this great state of Pennsylvania, the one that I live in.
Are you going to talk about the sliver of West Virginia?
No.
Okay, never mind.
I mean, yeah, that would be – I think that exists for geographical reasons, Kyle.
Geographically, the sliver of West Virginia is one of the most retarded things that exists.
No, it exists because of maybe topography is what I meant to say.
There you go.
Yeah, it exists because of topography, not really like any kind of like border or anything.
I get it, yeah.
Long story short, Pennsylvania, my state that I live in right now, is the best example of why secession will not work, because over here you have Pittsburgh, the lovely city that I live in, that voted for Obama and Hillary and Joe Biden. And then over here you've got Philadelphia, which is even more so. Dude, Biden cleans up like 90% of the vote in the Philadelphia counties. But in between, you have this massive swath of red counties. So how do you tell this large section of red that they're now a part of the Eastern Democratic States of America?
Well, and so you face a different problem when you look at states like mine or Washington specifically. Also, like these two states. Yes.
Let's go why.
Blue centers. Centers. And
Phoenix, Maricopa County.
Exactly. King County up in Washington. And Puyallup. Puyallup's probably pretty blue. But seriously.
The one thing I'll say
that's more of a divided one. Like that one's more divided, and Arizona's more like got a center where it's surrounded.
Washington, Oregon, and California are
counties right now.
No, this is what I'm saying. The stark contrast that is in Pennsylvania between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh is not as dude. Clallam County voted for Joe Biden.
Do you not find that surprising, though?
I do.
Okay.
But at the same time, what I'll say is Washington is far more likely to have a lot more counties going blue than Pennsylvania does.
Or Arizona.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So before we get off the map, I want to talk about one last thing because we're going to get to it eventually with the breadbasket of America.
See,
But
but what I was just trying to do actually makes a really good point. I was trying to compare Arizona and Washington, and we basically just pointed out, and dude, there are a lot of similarities. Like when it comes to state comparisons, they are actually really close. But when you flesh it out, every state is so different, literally from the state next to them. Nevada shares its largest border with California.
okay, so
Vice versa.
I think that you have a proclivity or a whatever to try to compare Arizona to Washington because you love Washington.
Well, I do Texas.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And you like Arizona. I think Arizona is a dog shit state.
No,
Hold on. I love Colorado. You're not the biggest fan of Colorado. Like from what I gathered, you didn't like living in Denver.
politically, I like Colorado more than Arizona.
And the same as Washington.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is all I was saying is your comparison is better made with Colorado, not Washington. That's all I was saying.
Oh, yes. Well, especially
Not only
like
that,
we were
center.
talking about like topographically or geographically. Yes, exactly. A center.
Blue.
Yes.
It's all blue.
I should have realized, and they're like right next to each other. And I've lived in both of them.
And I've always said that. I've always said Arizona and California are wildly similar because of the centrality of their capital city.
You said California.
In their state and it being surrounded by red counties.
Cody just said California. He meant Colorado.
I meant Colorado.
Yeah, that's all.
Cool. We can stop looking at the map. Maybe we'll come back to it.
I'm really sorry, but I need to stop recording again.
Okay. All right. So we just took a long break because, again, like we said, there's an attempted coup happening. So I went up and checked the news real quick, said hi to my wife, and then was telling Kyle here about a 10th grader at Braddock Hills High School, which is in my district, dying from gunfire today. So we were talking about some serious stuff, and that was why we were away for so long. But let's continue to talk about the awesome concept of America splitting in half. We last left you guys off talking about the map, and that was based off of this line right here, talking about the USSR breaking up into 15 different republics, whereas most secession, I guess, ideas that you see floated in like the American media is a split of two, like a red state and a blue state, because of how politically divided we are. So it's kind of obvious.
So, hold on. Regarding that concept, because of the map that you just showed, which I don't think we acknowledged was your own creation. Yes, that was a completely original Cody conception of the two country division of the United States.
And I am not computer savvy, so since you brought that up, I'll just bring it up again and show you guys.
It's a work of art, really. You have
look at these scribble lines. They look like a 5-year-old drew this.
The Western Democratic States of America and the Eastern Democratic States of America, and then the conservative states of America in the middle. Once again, this is a conception which I think the names are great. Yeah. But what you were just talking about is like geography and whatnot. I think if we did something like this, we have the modern capability. Like we tried to displace the natives before. Yeah. Basically, no, all of the conservatives in California and Arizona, because there's a ton, would be given a time period and assistance to make their way to the conservative states.
And we should make it the other way, even though it would be
Yes.
not
Yes.
as big. It would be not as big or as many people, because most people who vote blue already live in cities and already live in the states that would be part of the DSA, Democratic States of America, the WDSA and the EDSA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was saying how this guy has a fun, jovial tone kind of to his writing, so I'll just highlight this because it's fun. All those who love the man currently running the United States of America would become residents of Kingdom of Mar-a-Lago. Good luck to ye all. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck.
That was the funniest part about I don't know if we're gonna get into the Kurt Schlichter article, but him talking about blue states needing red states.
Oh, dude, no, we'll get there. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Because it's the beginning of one of his articles, and it's just
Okay, like we didn't get to that yet. Okay,
This
my
has
bad.
no founding in factual, and that's where I'll bring in the data. Is I'll just show like data.
Well, the Dennis Prager thing, like he talks about science and how the left loves science, but he spends a few paragraphs trying to debunk the left's pursuit of scientific method.
Right, and it's like other than gender studies, and I don't even know how I want to say this because it's gender studies doesn't. If you're a Republican, you would say gender studies fly in the face of science. I think that's what they would say.
Yes, sorry,
but I think it's complicated in that sex is different than gender, and gender assigned at birth is different than gender expression. All kinds of stuff. Different topic for a different time. Especially that one. That's one I wanted to talk to you about, is like gender stuff.
Oh, that's funny because I'm quite well versed in all of that.
Yeah. That's why I want to talk to you about it, because I feel like that would be a video where we could have a chance for you to really speak a lot.
Maybe.
I just wanted to preface this one also. This guy from the LA Times, he wrote his article in the guise of the coronavirus, specifically highlighting our division.
Yeah, and that's what I was pointing out earlier, if it wasn't clear to our 4-member audience, is that this LA Times guy is, I would bet 9 times out of 10 that this guy is a pro-union sort of fella.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, the LA Times was historically very anti-union.
Right. Right. The LA Times probably employs lots of people who are pro-union in their opinion.
Well, and all, like, I imagine that even like structurally, they have unions operating within their corporation these days.
Unions have been taken down so hard that it's hard to start a union now. Like,
yeah, but well, and that's what also is unfortunate for the unions that exist, because they don't have as much clout as I think they should, like police.
I agree.
Or teacher unions.
Right. Dude, even like plumbers and like boilermakers and people like that. Like, Dan's a boilermaker, so I'm pretty sure he's part of a union, and he probably makes decent money, but he should make more for a job where he risks his life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, off topic again. No, I like this. This is who we are, a nation irrevocably divided, perhaps more than ever.
That I actually really noticed that term, irrevocably divided.
So
I'm sorry. I just don't think I believe. I just don't agree with the terminology there. Like, seriously, like irrevocably, like that means that to me is a synonym for hopeless.
Okay. Do you agree with people who use historical evidence to say we've been just as divided before, and it doesn't matter whether they're talking about, the Whigs and the Republicans or whatever that about. The Civil War, obviously, we were pretty divided. I would argue, other than the Civil War, we are more divided now than we ever been.
Okay, I'm really glad that you made that disclaimer.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I agree. Other than the Civil War.
Okay. So this is also what I just like this idea in general is we could do it USSR way and divide into 15 self-governed countries. So I'm going to bring this bad boy back up and just say, like I said before, it would be tough with the conservative states of America because this could just be one freaking region, dude. But a regional breakup of the United States, while I like the concept, I don't know how it would be done because you'll see right here, you could essentially cut the border right here at the Lake Erie. So Lake Erie's right here, and the western border of the eastern section could be Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pennsylvania, and that's the other thing too, is this right here, I'm pretty sure is because of topography.
Yeah, and once again, I'm not really looking at that so much as the conservative states because that's what you're talking about. So, and I feel like this would actually make sense too because of regional values and things like that.
I've got one actually, but go ahead.
If you made another border, so that the Democratic states, you have east and west, to make north and south of the Confederate states, do a northern border across Kansas and Missouri. That's Missouri, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. That line right there. Make that line, and then you have 4 federal, and that's the even sort of distribution. And it's almost an even distribution of geography.
Can I show you what I would like? Okay, go ahead.
But this concept coupled with what I was talking about before, people given the opportunity. So say there's somebody who lives in northern Texas who doesn't want to be a part of the southern conservative states. They could be given the opportunity to move to Nebraska or the Dakotas or Iowa.
New Mexico. No, because
or the other, or laterally, I get. No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
do you think?
You're right. You were talking about party differences. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Not geography. Okay. So then I'll build off of that. So what we do if we wanted to do regional is I'll take it to the bottom here, and I'll take this border right here all the way
interesting
to right here. So this right here, this would be, it would be, and that's where, so I would give the south, hold on, this border would go right here across the Carolina, the bottom one, South Carolina, across Tennessee, and up right here. So you would also get Kentucky and Indiana with this region.
Okay, so right here. With these relocation things, I think Indiana, and maybe Ohio, should be included in the Eastern Democratic states.
Not at all. No. Just even less than, no, especially Indiana, dude. Mike Pence.
I've been there a couple times.
Mike Pence was the governor there, and Donna voted for him. All of our family in Indiana is conservative except for Charlie. He's literally the only person out of probably 40 people that we know in that state that aren't conservative.
Okay.
Indiana just doesn't work. I'm sorry. You cannot make Indiana a blue state because it never will be.
I was just trying to clean up the lines.
That doesn't work. No, you don't need to because Ohio is just, dude, I've been to Ohio. Ohio is just as bad as Indiana, I promise you.
Okay.
In West Virginia,
okay.
We need to talk about the mountain people in West Virginia?
No.
Okay, so You have this section, which is a small one, but it's the Carolinas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. And then the South, you have Florida, Georgia, and this is the state I feel worse for because Georgia is actually turning blue. This isn't a facade or something. Atlanta is a massive city center full of black people, and Georgia is very friendly to Hollywood. I don't know
I
if
feel
you
like Georgia is actually the more accurate comparison to Arizona.
very similar. Very, very, very. Yeah. I would put Georgia behind maybe like 10 or 15 years, though. Just because they won the Senate doesn't mean, yeah. Anyways, the southern states would be Florida,
South.
Georgia, Mississippi,
Georgia's
Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. And then you would have this nice big chunk of northern conservative states. So
Yes.
Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Dakotas, Wyoming, Montana. And then what I would say over here is we tell the Mormons, hey, get over it. You're going to live in a Western Democratic state of America.
No, we talked about this before. Is like maybe you don't need the whole state. Maybe just like lower a little.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
cut it off.
Yeah, have basically the Utah Peninsula.
So yeah.
Could be smaller.
So what I was gonna say though is that you could have what's called the southwestern states of America, and then draw a border right here, and have the western. So you'd have the western states of America, the southwestern states of America, the northern conservative states of America, the southern conservative states of America, and the eastern conservative states of America, and then a third Democratic and a fourth Democratic.
Yeah.
Tough. Let's get beyond it.
Yeah, it almost seems like you're trying to make it even, like 3-3.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was just 2-1. Honestly, I think what you said makes more sense. Put the border for the southern and northern conservative states at the bottom side, the southern side, not the northern side. That makes more sense, actually.
Okay. Now I'm just going to read all of this because it's so good. So this weekend, to celebrate the birth of their new republic, they could hold a massive liberation party on all Southeast Atlantic beaches. Social distancing would be abandoned. Anyone possessing, wearing, or selling a mask, or wondering if the ocean water has gotten warmer, would be shot on sight by a citizen militia. In Texas, suspended executions would not only be resumed, but death row inmates would be given lethal COVID-19 injections. And all houses of worship in the Kingdom of Mar-a-Lago would be required to reopen if they hadn't already, with no restrictions on hugging and kissing. All Mar-a-Lago immigrants, except for Melania, wife of Donald, an immigrant, would be sent home on rubber rafts. All the king's conversations, King Donald, with foreign allies and enemies would be perfect. Nobody smart would pay taxes, and journalists would be turned away at the border unless they work for Fox News. And actually, we should amend that now to OAN or Newsmax, because Fox News is now the anti-Trump media outlet, apparently. It's just crazy. And this is actually what I was going to get at. California, of course, has plenty of red, Trump-loving regions, the largest which is the Central Valley. And so the breadbasket of America is California's Central Valley. And you know what? You conservatives cannot have it because we have Hollywood and we have Silicon Valley, which will crush you.
He says it right there. But once the labor force was deported, I'm not sure how they would find anyone to work the field. Like, see,
there's that too.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Exactly.
I brought up the one he didn't mention though, or the two, I guess. That's my thing. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on because I've got a lot to say about California. And this is good too. It's like he's realistic. I'm not saying California is perfect. It's not all milk and honey here, you know. if you love something, you should be able to criticize it and want it to be better.
Exactly, dude. That to me is real patriotism.
What is? Oh yeah, exactly. Being critical of America is patriotic.
No, wanting the nation that you live in to be better.
Right. What? It's so funny because the messaging is the same and the rhetoric is just like that's what Make America Great Again is, but with the wrong policies behind it.
Yes.
And not only that, but my whole thing on Make America Great Again is like, again, in reference to what? Like the 50s and the 60s when black people still didn't have rights? Like,
Yeah, that's exactly why that statement is a dog whistle and incredibly problematic.
Right, absolutely. At some point, we also need to talk about economics because the fact that the fact that the middle class has diminished while we have continued to have lower taxes over the last 50 years, people don't think there's a correlation.
So something I found like, yeah, I dig deep into people's credentials and yeah, one of our favorite people, content creators, David Pakman, I found out has a degree in economics.
Oh, nice.
And
from too, isn't he from like Argentina?
An MBA.
Nice.
With the specialization in, I think, entrepreneurship or something like that.
Oh, cool. He's a great businessman, that's for sure.
He's a straight up Democratic Socialist. Like he is, he will argue that and explain it to you all day. Right. And that's what I just love about him is like.
Me too. Love Pac-Man.
There are people who are like, oh, you're a socialist. You don't know what economics are. And it's like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, that one really, really, I'm glad you came full circle on that because that one just gets me so much because it's like, I probably know more about economics than like, I don't know. Is it cocky of me to say that I probably know more about economics than probably like 75% of the population?
No, not even a little bit.
Might even be like 80. I don't know.
I said this in one of my conversations with heavyweights or whatever. Yeah. And I gave him credit for having a degree in finance and an MBA and attempting to discuss economics with him. But to be totally honest, I don't feel like he schooled me in any economic issue. And especially like if we have this conversation about UBI, I think he's going to have a whole different perception on my grasp of economic issues.
I would be curious for him to point out to either of us at any point in any of your conversations where he thought he schooled you or owned you or whatever it is, because I'll point out the times where you own him.
Yeah, let's not go any further on that.
Yeah. So then because this is the end of this article and it's such a beautiful quote. But all things considered, we tend to trust science. And while we're eager to rediscover our groove, we're cautious about moving too quickly.
And that's literally the exact opposite of what Dennis Prager thinks about the left.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like dude, you showed me. It's in that big long article where that person says it's not cognitive dissonance, it's cognitive what?
Bias?
Dang. Well, we'll get to that one at some point, but like that is a golden quote, and it shows exactly that, where it's just like we can't even agree on.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start with this one. This is from the Philadelphia Inquirer. So again, this is I actually had to read through this one to figure out, and you would assume that the Philadelphia Inquirer would be like a liberal media outlet, but the Washington Examiner is like one of the most conservative outlets ever, and you would never guess that. Anyways, and like the New York Post, it's like the New York Post is a tabloid. Anyone who actually uses it for news is sorely misguided. But anyways, I really like this quote to start. No one in our country seems happy today. The right is angry. The left is despondent. Our nation reminds me of those married couples who try to stay together for the children, but end up making everyone around them miserable.
Yeah, that one hit really close to home. So.
Oh, totally. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
No, I was like, oh, yeah, let's move on, because it is one of those things where I was like, I almost hope he doesn't bring this one up, because it's good. It's a good point. But yeah, it's just.
And this is the other thing too, is like, if all leftists do is trash and destroy America, why is this in part of a leftist opinion article?
What's it say?
America had a nice run. We won 2 world wars, gave the world the automobile, nuclear power, the internet, and put men on the moon. Is that trashing America?
Yeah. Yes. It goes back to the thing where it's like, oh, you're just not allowed to criticize.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just reading through this to see. Right. So this we'll get into. California could easily succeed. It's the 5th largest economy in the world as of right now. Oh, this is a good point too, though. Texas, Florida, and New York. Massive economy in Texas, built off of oil. That's the thing, is Texas's economy is way like one-sided, I guess is what you say. It's thoroughly dependent upon its production of energy. Yeah. Whereas California is, and this is what everyone thinks, oh, California is Hollywood and Silicon Valley. And it's like, okay, that's fair.
You know how big California is?
Well, that first of all, but second of all, what are 2 bigger economic driving forces in America? Energy, defense,
agriculture,
healthcare. Agriculture, glad you brought that up. We'll get to it. California makes up 13% of the agriculture output of America, which is more than anyone by like 4 or 5 points.
Yeah.
The point I was getting at, though, in this is, dude, the power that Silicon Valley holds and the power that Hollywood holds because of their media influence and the amount of money that they have behind them, I'm glad they're on our side. People are scared of the left having control of the media, and it's like, I'm sorry, you guys were too stupid to not realize that this is what you needed to control.
Damn, dude, that's a hot fucking take, and I like it, and I just swore. But yeah, I think that's, I don't know if I've heard that one before.
So
actually, no, I have heard it from you before, where you're just like, oh, I'm sorry that we figured out that, it's not a mistake that all good storytelling has taken place on the left.
No, I have it's an old quote of mine. That's the thing, is this isn't a new idea for me. There's 3 things. Sorry, we're smart because we own academia, right? So sorry for being the smart guy in the room. Media was the other one, which we talked about, and then I forgot what the third one was. But basically, it's like you're acknowledging that the left uses these things to take and or control power, but you weren't smart enough to seize that for yourself.
It's acknowledging their own failure to do what the other side did successfully.
Yep, exactly. All right. Blah,
Sorry.
blah, blah.
I'm getting a phone call. I'm gonna stop recording for a second.
Yeah, yeah. Just pause for a second.
Okay.
All right, so we took another break, and the fun thing is that I remembered the what I would call an original thought. If you ever listen to like a smart person like Nas the rapper, he would tell you everything's redone, so there is nothing original at this point. But I like to think of this as an original thought. So if leftists, liberals, Democrats, whatever label you want to put on us, if we control academia, the media, and Hollywood, or actually, let's put it the other way, academia, Hollywood, and the media, then I'm sorry that you weren't clever enough to A, be the big brain in the room by controlling academia, and B is Hollywood. Sorry you can't tell a story. And C, the media. Sorry you didn't think it was smart to control the platform to push your story. So, anyways.
No, that's
Sorry you guys didn't figure it out. Yeah, if leftists control the media, Hollywood, and academia, and you blame us for that, then yeah, well done. Well done. Anyways, we're going to finish up this article because this was how we finished it is we used to be good together. Didn't we read this one?
Well, I wanted to call it the three of those things that you just mentioned, strawmans, but they're not. They're just and as you just pointed out, false criticisms.
Yeah.
And you just proved why they are.
Not only that, but I'm actually serious in like sorry that you guys were late to the punch. Like you failed to see how powerful these institutions would be, and now you complain about their influence?
Is it comparable to when I apologize to heavyweights about him being angry? Because it's like, man, that sucks. That sucks that you're so fucking angry about your situation.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you could kind of relate it. It's like, well, that's really tough considering you're a white guy in your 30s with an MBA.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, this article finishes off with we used to be good together. But what's the point of having the greatest country in the world if none of us actually like it?
That I will kind of disagree with because before the point we were talking about is like leftists hate America.
Yep.
And even if he just wants to say that we don't like it, no, I won't accept that accusation, I guess, upon the American citizen, specifically myself, because of that exactly. What does it say?
Oh no, I'm clearly contradicting myself.
No, you're not contradicting. You're just showing. You're just showing an article that contradicts what you've said, which is exactly what I did when I tried to share an article about equity and equality.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on to a right-leaning source.
Yeah. Let's get to
Let's start with my favorite, good old Kurt Schlichter. Honestly, I so badly want heavyweights to just read this guy because I think he'll read him and it'll be like music to his ears.
There was a specific paragraph that I just wanted to like send to him and be like, do you disagree or agree with this?
Right.
And yeah.
So I don't want to highlight it because I have something highlighted. Actually, I will. Because it's the beginning. So, okay. So there's an undeniable pleasure in imagining the blue states cut off from America and forced to fend for themselves without normal Americans to feed them, fuel them, and defend them from the kind of dirtbags they kiss up to in order to show us knuckle-dragging Jesus folk what for.
So before
Wow.
you get into it, I just want to let the audience know that the points feed and fuel are just basically they go against the facts.
Yes,
If blue states seceded and needed to feed and fuel themselves, they would be just fine.
correct. So let's look at some numbers and prove ourselves.
Okay, yeah.
So total energy output, like I said, Texas is number one by a long shot. But hey, you know what this is? A Eastern Democratic state of America. I've talked about how it won't work because of Pennsylvania, but if it did happen, Pennsylvania would be part of the blue region, and we are the number 2 producer.
I really didn't know Wyoming was number 3. That's crazy.
Lot of gas and oil coming out of there. And then the next one for our cause is Colorado. And then New Mexico, Illinois, but California. The thing about California is I bet they could increase their energy output by doing a couple of different things. What those are exactly, I don't want to get into. Go ahead.
No, it's funny. Like the first 3, 4, 5 are definitely red states, and like except for Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Wait, oh no, that's not included in the. Yeah. Okay. So either way, like the further down you go, like you're just adding up blue states like over and over and over.
Correct. And that's where it starts competing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, dude, but can you pause it again?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. So we left off talking about energy production, which is what you guys are looking at right here. And I'm just going to close it because we essentially talked about this right here. Fuel them. It's just fundamentally and factually incorrect that the blue states cut off from America being forced to fend for themselves. Fueling is not an issue. And I hate that we skipped because the first one is my favorite is feed them because it's like even more overwhelming. So, because I like actual statistics and data instead of conjecture and monologues
And anecdotes.
and anecdotes. Hidden bookmarks, energy. No, did I lose it? Oh no. Gross GDP by state. Oh, GDP by state's a fun one. So cash receipts by a commodity is essentially how the USDA quantifies agricultural output. So, and to prove that, you guys see right over here. Oh, I can't select it. But yeah, anything from catfish to avocados to hogs to honey, kiwi fruit, every single thing that you could think of that comes from a farm, all commodities are taken into account in these statistical charts. So California, number 1. And I also love this because it gives us percentages, right? So, dude, almost double. California has almost double the next for agricultural output. Meaning, oh, and this is what was saying about the map earlier, which I put away.
To
Go
be
ahead.
to be fair, the energy output of Texas. What?
To be fair. Sorry. You suck because you haven't seen Letterkenny enough, and that's like one of their biggest things. To be fair.
To be fair, I didn't. Sorry, all I hear, I didn't. You weren't enunciating, or it just wasn't coming through clear enough.
You at least get the reference now that you understand what I was saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say to be fair?
Why would I have said it?
I guess we'll have to look back at it.
I don't have to because I know what happened. I made fun of you the way Katie or Wayne or Derry or Dan would make fun of any of the above for saying, to be fair.
Now I don't even remember what I was the point I was trying to make. So keep going.
No, and that's my fault, and I actually am sorry for that because you were going, and I opened up the floor to you.
I don't know the to be fair reference. Like
I opened up the floor to you, and you started with to be fair. So
none of a. I can't even believe I did that. Like,
anyways, the breadbasket of America is right here in California. This also happens to be the red part of California, but as our previous article showed us, once the illegal immigrants are kicked out due to conservative wishes, no one's left there to work the fields, to pick the avocados and the strawberries and stuff like that. So that's the breadbasket of America. And literally, like, this is why I was saying, oh, no, shoot. That's...
We should also acknowledge the point I made off camera, which is energy output is going to change.
I totally agree with you in that we should talk about what we talked about off camera about energy output. So I'm going to just bring it up real quick. And you
Keep
made
going. I have an idea for my lighting. So
okay. Yeah. So you had a good argument, I guess, overall, in that if we have progressive legislators over the next several years, then it's more likely for alternative energy sources to become more predominant. And I don't disagree with that. But the point I made was these states like Texas and Wyoming and Oklahoma and West Virginia that are all at the top of the list for energy production currently in our fossil fuel dominated environment, they understand that their bread and butter is energy production. So if federal legislation or even state and local legislation is requiring green or renewable energy sources, the companies that currently are drilling in Pennsylvania for natural gas, drilling in Texas for fossil fuels, same with Wyoming, West Virginia, Oklahoma. All these fossil fuel states will be like, hey, man, we need to figure out how to get solar panels in our state because we need energy money.
Yeah, so this is... I'm trying to think of another industry where this has occurred, where innovation
changed it.
Innovation basically, or I guess, yeah. I don't know how to word it, but it's like innovation inspires innovation. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly. So basically, what you're saying is the states that already capitalize on energy production will continue to capitalize on energy production
because they will almost be forced to innovate.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I was like, geez, dude.
Sorry, I really like to flesh these things out.
No,
And
that's fine. But I wanted to come back to this one because this is my favorite. Because, okay, California is number one by a long shot. Number five, this nice fella. Oh, you mean the northernmost state or of the Eastern Democratic States of America?
this is agricultural production, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
And then look where we are down here. Number 11. So number one, number five, and number 11. You think the Democratic states could feed themselves?
The other thing about agriculture, comparing agriculture to energy, this is kind of, I'm sorry, side point. And yes, no, I don't think they could feed themselves. Dude, uh, God damn it. No, I forgot. Keep going.
So, yeah, dude. I don't. Can you pause it for a second?
Do.
So we're gonna try to get through this article before we call it a night because it's getting late here in Pittsburgh. But we previously talked about fuel them, which is right here in the middle, and how absurd it is to think that the democratic states of America would not be able to fuel themselves. Feed them is even more embarrassing if you look at the actual numbers. It's literally California by double. Like, so 7.4 times 2 is 14.8, 13.6. So 1.2% difference between doubling the next state in California. And then down here at number 5, you've got the fancy, awesome state of Minnesota. I was being facetious when I said fancy. But anyways, Minnesota has a great agricultural output at 4.5%. Oh, and I did this math the other day. So you've got 4.5% plus 13.6%. So that's 14 plus 4. So that's 18 plus Washington's 2.5. Oh, yeah. It's roughly 20% of American agricultural output in 3 states that are always blue. Always blue. So the first argument of feed them is the most preposterous because California is America's breadbasket. Minnesota and Washington are both also in the top 10 for agricultural output. So, dumb argument. Where it gets dicey, and I thought maybe, did you want to say anything about agriculture?
Did we do the fuel, the energy? Did we do the energy thing already?
Yeah, we did that before, which was, we didn't do them in order, which is what I said. So,
Okay, my bad.
the last one in Kurt Schlichter genius extraordinaire is defend them. So the thing that we talked about is how defend them is kind of, it's an interesting one because I think a false narrative is that all military people and all veterans are Republicans.
Yes, this is something that came up actually in the longer article that like that was the problem that I had with it is the framing of the issue of divisiveness. And it's like every Democrat or person on the left or whatever, however you want to describe or label them, like we said before, is afraid of guns. Yeah, exactly. And
We're,
that's
we're gonna get to that as well, actually, because you, like you said, that's in the long article. So
yeah. So
that's a point that I want to come to.
Same lines.
But when I think of defend them, I think of what this guy says. So he later talks about how in one of his books, he details how, I guess, effete uh, military would be if it was under the control of liberals in America. Um, but seriously, everyone I know
Yeah.
owns a gun, whether they're
Yeah.
conservative or
No, that is like it's like when you read the Turner Diaries, it's just a total political hypothetical situation. Like it's not something that has happened.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what the Turner Diaries are.
The audience will.
Okay, they probably won't. Tell me what it is.
Oh, I mean, it's a um sort of neo-Nazi manifesto, I guess. Uh
The Turner articles, huh?
Turner Diaries. Timothy McVeigh was a big fan of it. He literally had a copy of it on him when he was arrested.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, anyways, I had this sentence highlighted because, okay, so yes, the irony is clear that a guy like me who drew the fussy Femi ire of the cruise shilling Frito Con hacks and their cheesy blogs over his best selling books about America splitting into red and blue nations is saying succession no. So he says the irony. And honestly, what I would say instead of that is the self contradictory nature of everything that I write is clear. So, yeah, it's not just ironic. He's wildly self contradictory all the time.
But did he just admit it?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Crazy. You don't even know what you're looking at right now, do you? Right.
Yeah, it's complicated, I guess.
Yeah. So this is what he says. My five conservative action novels are based in a world where the country is ripped in two by the left.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. He's written 5 books about it.
He also has committed to this. So he says, blah, 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 blah. It appears that we will be subjected to an asterisk marked Democrat president and an accompanying administration that epitomizes blah, 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 blah. And then what I'm going to show you is right here. I guarantee you that I will continue to read Kurt Schlichter for some time. And whenever he writes President Biden, he's going to put an asterisk on it.
I noticed this. I noticed this as well. And
you know who else will? No one. No one. No. Do you think historians are going to put an asterisk next to Joe Biden?
No, I think it has the potential to become a social media meme.
He wishes. He wishes.
No, you're right. Like, if he's successful, that is what will happen. It will become a meme. President Joe Biden asterisk, which is what he writes later.
Yeah, this right here. It's my books look at the ridiculous PC world of a blue military.
Like, there have never been leftist governments with a powerful military.
Yep, exactly. All right.
It's just, once again, like these people just consistently prove themselves as ahistorical.
So this is where he's just so freaking wrong again, and he couldn't be more wrong. They need us, and we are better off with them. That's the slight. He gives the slight concession saying that the red states are better off. I wonder if he's talking about the fact that red states are literally subsidized by blue states. Maybe that's what he is talking about. But he talks about the blue elite must be defeated, and I wish I could remember who it was or what source I saw it on, but someone called Tucker Carlson an elite, and if Tucker Carlson was called an elite to his face, his head would probably explode. The fact of the matter is, he's a freaking millionaire with elitist connections all throughout the establishment. And I'm sorry, but I'll say this too. I wish I could see Kurt Schlichter in real life or talk to this person in person. Be like, you know he lives in California, right? In LA. This guy lives in LA.
I read him and I think of the literal definition of grifter. I'm sorry. Like
Schlichter?
I find it hard to believe that he actually believes what he's writing.
I also agree with you, and it's insane.
No, hold on.
Good.
And because I watched his debate with Bosch, and Bosch basically said the same thing. And I get not debate. Bosch went on the Tim Pool podcast, and he was like, they had a very long conversation, and Bosch basically concluded that he really doesn't think Tim Pool is a grifter. He actually believes the things that he's saying. And I know that you know the definition of a grifter, so that would make him not a grifter.
So that's what is hard for me. Then I would say that Donald Trump also isn't a grifter, because I actually think Donald Trump believes that.
No, I think Donald Trump is a sociopath. So that's all.
I think he's a narcissist and he's a sociopath.
Yes. Narcissist and sociopathy are kind of like.
And con man. I wouldn't say he's a grifter, but he's a con man.
Yeah, I don't think he disbelieves the things that he's espousing. Yeah. And once again, if you watch, and they are two, I would say, well-versed modern pundits, Vosh and Tim Pool.
Correct.
But some people might label Tim Pool as a grifter, and I really don't think so either. Like there are people who actually think that way, and I think Heavyweights is definitely one of those people. I've already told you that. Like I'm pretty sure, like this guy, if him and Tim Pool hung out, they would have literally no disagreements.
But I thought you said that he would think Tim Pool is a grifter. Or no?
Say that?
I thought that's what you said. Anyways, doesn't matter. Because
sorry.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you. I think Tim Pool is not. Okay, here's an example. While I think Alex Jones believes most of his insane thoughts, I think he probably realizes some of them are completely outlandish, and he just pushes it to sell.
Yes, that's exactly the definition of a grifter. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. And so, like, I think that's what he is. I could agree with you. I could say that I truly think Tim Pool believes what he's saying, which is what I said about Donald Trump. Yeah.
Well, what I was saying is it actually took me watching him debate somebody who I consider a a good faith debater
Uh-huh.
to expose the fact that he's not a grifter.
Right. All right. I think we should cut it off right here, actually, because I'm at the end of this article, and I might want to come back to it a little bit. But yeah, let's cut this off.
Okay.
Just stop. You can just stop recording because we're gonna pick it back up. I want to.
No, it's fine because I just want to make this last statement because conservatives must stand together and fight.
Oh yeah, that's on every town hall article.
So, yes, that I feel like that's a good point to stop.
Yeah, not only that, but I literally see this every freaking day. But hey, I'm a leftist stuck in my echo chamber, so no, I don't.
Yep.
So, all right. Yeah, just stop recording.